Unlike the Santa Fe, the Sorento is actually still rocking the dual clutch. I'll include a link to the Doug Smith Kia's website in the description down below. They're providing us with this Sorento. Let's get right into the review. This week's giveaway highlight is a classic Corvette with a big block V8. If you're interested, use code BHC or click the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment. This will give you 4x bonus entries on any donation $25 or more. Powering this is the turbo 2.5 liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed dual clutch. Fuel economy 20 around town, 27 on the highway, with power outputs being 281 horsepower and then 311 pound-feet of torque. If you're able to, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Blacked out Kia badge there in the center, and I love this flat gray. And then look at the headlights. That is really nifty looking with the orange. Everything's blacked out with this particular one. And with those amber lights, this has a sportier appearance compared to most mom cars. Tire and wheel setup is 255 by 45 by 20. The wheels are completely blacked out with this package. You'll note that some trim on the side, even the mirror caps are also blacked out. That paired with the overall shape makes this look less mom carish and more sporty, I would say. Now when it comes to key fob features, you've got the Kia logo. It illuminates when you press the functions. Anyways, you've got lock unlock, you got the opening for the hatch, remote start on the other side. So first off, the third row folds down flat, which is always a nice feature, and you can actually fold down the second row with those little buttons. Sorry, the lighting's horrible right now. There's also a 12 volt next to it. But even with said third row up, there is still storage space behind it. It's gonna be a little bit more cramped. If you want more space, you obviously go up to the Telluride. Vertical taillights. I think it's a cool looking design. Everything else other than the X-Line badge is blacked out. That will cap things off for the exterior of this Sorento. Let's now take a look at the interior. Pretty cool design with the door panel. You've got soft touch where you're gonna rest your arm. Little cup holder here. Not too bad with the view of the dash. And then with the third row, it's gonna be tighter. Definitely reserve it for kids. Kind of more of a, I don't know, smaller kid type deal. But it does have some USB ports back here, which is good, and there is a little bit of window. And then the seats themselves, perforated all down the center for the second row. Adjustments are nicely labeled. Good space back here for the legroom and everything. It's got captain chairs, which kind of makes it feel more spacious. Got some vents, 12 volts, and then with the captain chairs, you do get armrests right there. And then even though this has a panoramic sunroof, it's still pretty good with the headroom. Keyless entry for up front, and let's check that out. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. You've got all of your adjustments just down below, window controls, and there's more soft touch on the door panel. Front seat is perforated all down the center. You do have power adjustments on the side with lumbar support. The front passenger seat's just power adjustable. 2-spoke steering wheel design, meaning maybe you could technically call it 4-spoke because these little things, I don't know, I think it's more 2-spoke. Either way, you've got voice command volume controls on the front face. We have our adaptive cruise control with lane centering, traditional stocks on the back to match. Full digital gauge cluster. If you press the button, it looks like pages on the steering wheel. You can change what information is displayed. It'll also not really change the whole screen for the drive modes, but have a little icon that lets you know which drive mode you're going into. And then you do have the terrain modes that you can go through too. So they've added that. Just a backup camera in reverse with this one. And then as for the rest of the screen, it is quick to respond. As you can see, and it's all one unit across the dash. Below that, we've got our multifunction controls. So right now they're climate. If I press that, it's radio, volume. Still have the defroster and everything available, but yeah, this is something that I wonder how long it's gonna last in the Kia lineup, or if they're gonna go back to more traditional. Got some USB ports, phone charging pad, heated seat controls with those little tabs. I do like that. Cup holders, got the shifter for the dual clutch. Drive mode select, you push in to go to terrain and it'll illuminate, as you can see. Kind of fun. Parking sensors, you got auto stop, start, auto hold, hill descent, parking brake with the camera. Center consoles, good. Decent space. Nice trim here on the top too. And just a regular rear view mirror, and then we already mentioned panoramic sunroof. 2026 Sorento X-Line, $44,795. Let's see how this Sorento performs. Let's set off in the Sorento. So it looks like Kia drew the short stick. Here's what I mean. This dual clutch has been kind of controversial in the Sorento and in the Santa Fe. The Santa Fe now uses a torque converter automatic. This still has a dual clutch. Here's actually my 2 cents on it. So Hyundai is the main brand in the company, from my understanding. Kia, right, is obviously sells in huge numbers and is very important, especially here in the US market, but it's not really like the main brand. So what you'll see happen is Hyundai a lot of times will get an update first, and then Kia doesn't get it until later on. I mean, for example, the new Palisade's already out. The new Telluride, not out yet. So that's probably what it comes down to. And I think also what it comes down to is they probably have a bunch of these dual clutches laying around. And they're like, we got to get rid of them. So we'll keep putting them in one of the cars. And then once the supply is low enough, then we can move on, right? Can't have too many transmissions sitting around collecting dust. It's not a bad transmission in terms of performance. There's a little bit of herky-jerky at low speeds. The biggest thing that people have had issues with is, you know, with SUV stuff, right? If you go on like a dirt road or something, dual clutches, they tend to kind of burn out and blow up a bit. Whereas torque converter doesn't have that issue. And again, the smoothness factor. Now, once you're up and moving, this is very smooth. It's just getting up and moving, where it's like this, you can kind of that plus the turbo. But man, it's quick. It's quick. Shifts quickly. So, like I said, once you're already up and rolling, it doesn't matter. It's just that initial kind of grab point. But yeah, no acoustic glass or anything in this, but it's pretty comfortable, pretty darn quiet. The seats are nice. I love the Kia interiors. I think they do a good job with making it feel premium. Like, I think that the Kia interiors tend to feel a little bit better than the Hyundai interiors in terms of the materials and everything. And then just also the setup. Like, I like having a real shifter, right? Yeah, not as much storage space than having like a column or something like that, but it just feels good to actually just put it into gear. It's like, I'll give up space to feel like I'm doing something substantial. Handles well. And that's one thing that's nice about this versus like a bigger 3-row. If you're not using the 3rd row that much, this is a smaller vehicle, so it kind of turns in a little bit sharper, and generally speaking, it's just a little bit more comfortable to drive around in certain ways, and when you're not having to worry about moving as much vehicle. Yeah, see, here's where a little bit of turbo lag and the dual clutch grab, but it's not bad. It's really not that bad. But the torque converter always does better. So, Sorento. I think it's a nice, more affordable 3-row. You know, most of these 3-row SUVs are over 50 grand. So this being in the 40s is going to be more approachable price-wise for a lot of people. And I think it's a good thing. We need to have affordable family cars. How are people supposed to start a family if they can't afford a car to fit a family in it, right? Yeah, like, you can make smaller cars work, but I'll tell you, with 2 kids, I don't want to have 2 kids in the back of a Honda Civic. You know, it's just not enough space, and it also just doesn't feel safe, you know, because there's so many bad drivers on the road nowadays, and I never claim to be the best driver, but there's a lot of people doing a lot of crazy stuff, going like all over the place, and so, you know, having a vehicle with some mass to it that you're going to be carrying the kids around in, that also is something that's kind of valuable, something that's worth it. So that is the Turbo Sorento. I will review the hybrid. I'll review the plug-in hybrid at another date. But if you guys want to have any comparisons with the Sorento, let me know what you want to see, and I can put those comparisons together, whether it be Sorento versus Telluride, Sorento versus Palisade or Santa Fe or whatever. There's a lot that we can compare.